Hi, Stephen. Thank you for joining my podcast, especially that you told me that this week was very overloaded and you were sick this week. I'm really honored to have you on my podcast. Could you tell us more about you, Stephen, and about your career?
Yeah, sure. My name is Stefan Mübauer. In the online marketing industry, I go by the name Afpal, what is also the name of my consultancy company. I'm 42 years old, originally German, but living in Romania. Actually, what I prefer over Germany, and I'm father to one daughter. I started my career directly after, yeah, you can call it high school. I was not going to a university. I was not learning a trade. I directly started my first company when I was 19.
Wow.
It was an agency for selling insurances. I did that for 5.5 years, and then for 2 years I became like an employee in an insurance company to train their insurance sales guys. And it's not like a Cinderella story that I started there with 19, my own company, and it became directly a big success. So for the first 3 years, I was practically living from the money of my father. My mom was already dead by then. So yeah, it was hard at this time to survive as an entrepreneur. But in some way, I made it. In 2010, I decided to leave the insurance business. I made in the meantime a degree in this field to focus fully on the online marketing industry. And now, nearly 15 years later, I'm there with some own projects. And it's a fantastic industry. And I'm very happy that I made this move 2010 to go
Yeah,
to
and
online.
it's very hard to become an entrepreneur. You have to go through a lot and you struggle a lot and you face a lot. You have to let go some things. You have to let go security. You have to take a lot of risk. So I feel you in that way, and it's good to have parents that back up us. So uh, when actually, why did you start your entrepreneur life at the age of 19? So you said that it was hard, tough, and your parents helped you. So why you chose to start it at the age of 19?
It was practically coming more from an emergency situation. I was having very bad grades in school because I still think that the educational system, no matter in which country, is like overloaded with bullshit that we never need. And I sensed that. So I was not putting too much effort into this, but especially when we are speaking about, yeah, now it's 25 years ago, the people were looking in Germany mostly on the degree. They were looking on hard facts and not, is this person made to fit my company? After finishing school, I had to go to the army for some time being. It was mandatory
Oh,
back then in Germany, like an invalid, or you go for even longer time to work in a retirement home to wipe asses of old people. So I better decided to hang out with some dudes in the woods and shoot a little bit around instead of wiping asses.
still
Um,
mandatory?
Pardon?
Still mandatory?
No, they canceled it. I think
Thank God.
5, 6 years after I left. It already eased up, but after the army, I was having no perspective. I was considering even to stay in the army, but it was at the time of 9/11. So practically 8 days after I joined the army, it was 9/11. So I knew that shit is hitting the fan and that I don't want to be involved in that. So I had no other option. No company was hiring me, and I was always a people person from young age on. And the easiest thing to sell is something where you don't have an investment. And back then there was nothing like dropshipping
Indeed.
or online marketing. So I needed to take something that I don't have to buy, where I just go out and I get a commission for that. And that was given with insurances. You just have a paper. You have practically zero costs to start your business beside putting some gas in the tank and having a health insurance. So the startup costs were very lean for this business. And I went through it, and the first years were like horrible. People were not respecting me. I was 19. I was over 100 kilos, a lot of pimples. I had one suit. So I'm coming there like a little bit overweight, a lot of pimples in this cheap suit. Like, hey, you want to buy these insurances? So it was tough. But the tougher you start in a business, the better you get within if you are staying into it and you have also some kind of talent in it. If you have no sales talent, you can stay 20 years in the insurance business and you will maybe get by because you inherited or something like this, or maybe you get like an average guy, but you will never really thrive in this field. So yeah, that was practically the way how I went in the insurance field. And what I want to add there additionally, what was a big challenge beside being my age, was also that I had, of course, no idea how the real life is working.
Exactly.
For
Indeed.
example, taxes. I was only like in school and in the army, and my parents or my father, they took care of everything. So I had no idea about taxes, about insurance, about insurances are like mandatory for me, not how to sell them. I was starting from zero. So I made a lot of mistakes there. The German government was freezing my bank accounts because I was not making my tax correctly. So that's additional challenges that you are having when you are starting a business at a very young age. And especially back then, there were no resources. The internet was super slow. There were no smartphones. So it was not that you were just checking quickly, hey, what to do there. And there were maybe
It wasn't a digital era. It wasn't a digital era back then.
There was nothing. So you had to learn it by word to mouth. So there were done a lot of mistakes, and then step by step you get into the groove. And when this side problems that you are having that are theoretically not even considering your business direct, when they are taken away and you focus on what makes you money, then it's going in a good direction. And after 5.5 years going every day to 8 different clients, telling the same bullshit, I got sick and tired of it, and I decided to better train people that want to do this job as well. So I became an employee in a company for 2 years, and it was more or less the only time in my life I was an employee. And there I trained people how to become a better insurance guy, and I also focused there on the people that are, let's say, under 25, to take them a little bit by the hand to not make the same mistakes that I did, so that they are paying their taxes at the same time, that they are dressed proper, that they know how to make a knot, that they are appearing maybe older, basic things, that they are not wearing a cheap Casio watch. You don't need a Rolex, but better don't wear a watch at all instead of something for like 30 euros when you want to sell like a paper. All this kind of stuff I learned the hard way myself. And making these mistakes made it easy for me to teach people how to avoid these mistakes themselves.
Oh, so you went through a lot, and you've learned a lot. And the difference is sometimes between you and other entrepreneurs that maybe in Germany or other countries, you don't have a narrow segment. You have a lot of competition and a lot of competitors actually, and it's a huge market. It's a huge segment. So you throw yourself in a lot of risk. You throw yourself in a lot of difficulties. So you need to stay strong, and you cannot give up, because the minute you give up, it's like you're going backward, like a lot backward. So it's amazing how you became what you are today.
Thank you.
So technically, you work exactly in affiliate management.
Yeah. So after the insurance job, I got a job offer from a friend of mine that I actually helped with some insurance problem, to join his online marketing company. It was a dating company back then, and dating is till the day today still like the most important part of it. And I was practically working for other people as something like an external sales director, because the insurance business was a very good school to learn how to sell and also how to network. Because, for example, in the last year of my insurance career, I realized that I will never make it to the top myself if I'm not building like a big network. And what I did was I partnered up with like 30, 40 dentists, and I gave them like a cut from my commission, and they were selling insurances for me for dental care.
Oh, okay.
So that showed me something like when you start a business, or when you are in the business, find people that can help you. You bring a benefit to them, and they bring a benefit to you. In this case, they were not even getting money. It was more that I was going there. I bring the papers. I bring like a pound of coffee to the girl that is at the reception. I bring like, when I know the dentist has kids, I bring like a voucher for the cinema or something like this. And when they handed out this flyer, the doctor is a very trusted person in Germany. It's way more trusted than the punk in a cheap suit that is selling insurances. So when the doctor gives this paper and says like, hey, with this, your problems for the dental care are covered in the future, the closing rate is extremely high. So I went from a guy that only had to call people, practically call, you want to have my insurance, you want to have my insurance, to a guy that gets called by people, my doctor gave you this, can you come over? And when I came over there to sell the dental care, I was also selling them the stuff for the car, for the life insurance and so on, the things that were making a little bit more money. So yeah, that was practically the situation, what I learned. And around 3 years ago, it was like a really big change for me. And you said something very important when we spoke about the insurance, that the German insurance market is, you imagine it and you are right, very competitive. So I discovered something in the online marketing industry that is most probably even more competitive, because you are competing with people worldwide. And insurances are only in your country and mostly people in a circle of 50 kilometers. So I discovered that I have to create something as a business model, additionally to what I'm anyway doing, that nobody in the world is offering. And this is what I'm doing now. I was invited to speak on a conference. I never planned on that. The same like my insurance gig. I was never planning to become an insurance sales guy. I just want to have to make a living with the bad grade and the bad school degree that I had. So I was invited to speak on a conference, and the conference was in Dubai. And the guys were not allowing me to speak there about dating, what was my usual topic. They said, you have to come up with something that is different. And the only thing that I knew extremely well beside this was affiliate management. So I made a speech about this, and the people loved it, and they reached out, hey, do you do also consultancy? I never thought of it, so I helped them practically for free. It was petting my ego that people are asking me for help. I had also a failed business with my restaurants. About this we can speak maybe later on as well. So I lost a little bit the drive to make money. It was immaterial things that were boosting me more. And to the day now, I think they are still doing that more. So I was very happy to help the people for free. And then it started to turn step by step into a business, because people were demanding a lot of things where I maybe had to make some research. So instead of just jumping on a call, explaining them something 5 minutes, they would have asked me stuff where I have to sit and go through all things. And then they asked me if I know people that can work for them and so on. So everything became a business. In the beginning, I was sending all the people that were looking for a job or that were looking for candidates to recruiters. These recruiters were charging 15% of the annual salary. So we are speaking here about 10, 15, even 25,000 euros commission for the recruiter. And when I found that out, I asked them for a small cut. I asked actually for 1,000 euros, what is something like 10. And I think that's pretty fair, because they don't have to do any work. And nobody wants to give me something. That's the same like with the dentist. I come, I give them something, but these people didn't want to give me anything. So I practically created a competition company for HR as well. That is now a little bit over a year. And in the meantime, we are recruiting for close to 50 people. And we have in our database always around 200 candidates. In the meantime, there are also 1.5 people working for me. And we are hiring now more. And it's growing a lot.
Wow.
And I'm not the only one offering HR services in this industry. There are others, but I'm the only one that is working with these people and in the same job. So I have most probably deepest understanding in the world when it comes to HR and performance marketing space. And the same is with the consultancy. There are consultants that are consulting about affiliate management in a certain area that they know, of course, way better than me. But I consult all the areas, and what is working in one field, we call it vertical, that's the term, is working also in a small modified way for others. So I combine all this knowledge, and it's now a very interesting and great business model. I'm speaking on around 20 conferences per year about that. Some of them pay me to come. For some, it's that I just go there to have like a good time and educate people. I also wrote a book in the meantime. It's called the Affiliate Management Starter Kit 1 Second. I printed flyers for a conference, so this is how the book looks. So maybe you can link it later on, because nobody will be able to scan the QR code. So yeah, I do a lot of stuff to educate the community without asking something for this. And if you don't ask for something from the majority of people, big deals are coming automatically.
So it's it's more like the combination between networking and affiliate marketing. So it's like you implemented the affiliate marketing concept in a networking model, right?
So you can say it like this: the affiliate marketing is one point, and I'm not an affiliate. I have, of course, some experience made in this field, but not to make money or because of passion. I made it to understand the other side better. You cannot work with affiliates on an extremely high level if you don't know their pain points. So I did it for a while just to understand that. And affiliate management is always about networking, because the business is not made like in a shop that you are like shaking hands, or like with the insurance, you are sitting on the same couch and they are signing. The business is done sometimes 10, 15,000 kilometers away. And the affiliate is trusting you. They are sending you traffic. These are the internet visitors, and your company is making something out of that. And they get the commission afterwards. So if they don't trust you, that you give them the best products, that you don't cheat them with the money and so on, they will not work with you, or they will have a problem to give you everything that they have. So even when it's an online business, or especially because it's an online business, the trust factor and the networking factor is even higher. And also, when you are in this field, you meet a lot of people that you cannot work with.
Indeed. You build a lot of PR, a lot of networking and referrals with this type of marketing.
Exactly. It's about referrals, to make something extra, or to have people that send stuff to you. It's again like with the dentist. It was a very great lesson that I had there in 2006, 2007.
I believe in something. Building a lot of connections is a big step in business, because connections is what actually makes you to the top. It's not something easy to do. It's not something easy to achieve. So this type of management you are working in is very hard. It's very challenging, but it's very effective as well. This is why maybe you stick into it for 14 years, right?
Yeah, also I have to say that I love the majority of people there. It's a very young and dynamic environment, so it's not getting boring fast. Most of them, they are living by the motto work hard, play hard. So they work every weekend, they work every night. But when there is party time, there is party like there is no tomorrow. They are traveling together and so on. I'm now a father. I'm also with 42, and you mentioned it in the beginning, I have now back problems. My second case of herniated disc. I cannot live this lifestyle anymore, like going 5-6 days in a row to party, and I don't know, sleeping in some different Airbnb every night. It is not possible anymore, but I did it, and it helped me to connect with this community a lot. And it's not that just because I'm older, they are not respecting me or not integrating me. There are a lot of older guys as well. But it's important to understand this community in and out, and not just do a job. They have their own lingo, they have their own groups, and you have to understand it. If you are not living what you are doing, and this is maybe in affiliate management or affiliate marketing even stronger, but I think in every industry, if you are not 100% into it and living what you are doing, then you will never be one of the top guys.
Indeed. A lot of people do not tend to start being an entrepreneur because they are afraid to fail. So how actually, what are the biggest failures you went in, and how did you face them?
So my biggest failures were definitely not in insurance and in the online marketing space. that I have to say, my biggest failure was when I moved to an industry that I'm absolutely not understanding. That was costing me practically my life savings a few years ago. What I did was I had always the dream to own restaurants or a restaurant.
Oh,
And of course, when I dream about this since I'm like 14, 15, or I dreamt about it. Now it's a nightmare or even a night terror. So I dreamt about this my entire life. And when I was, how long is it ago? I think 35, something like this, 34, 35. I finally had made some very good money with online marketing that piled up in my bank account. And I was not a guy that wanted to have like an expensive car or flash in the club. The companies were anyway flashing in the club. So I had that every second weekend anyway. So my motivation was to do something different. And I opened my first restaurant against some advices from people. So everybody that had already restaurants or worked in this field was telling me, don't do it. Everybody that was just knowing me and how I succeeded in other fields was encouraging me. So I made the first restaurant. Big fail. So normally I should say like, okay, that was now a fail. I move on. I focus again on online marketing. I was doing the online marketing all in parallel, all the affiliate management. So it was just a side hustle, what is also a problem if you only do it aside. So I was not focusing on that. Also, the online business went then down because I had no focus on that. And there were no connections. Now, when I say I focus a little bit more on HR, I can say I placed last month 10 people in companies. I was maybe not making sales, but these 10 people will help me. They will go out and they say, Stefan gave me a job. Stefan was like offering cool service with his team. But with the restaurant and the online business, there was zero interaction. What should a person in America care if there is a restaurant in Bucharest? This has nothing to do with each other. And I could not even use the skills I had in online marketing to make the restaurant because it was a brick and mortar business that you had to promote with like fancy videos and God knows what that. I had no idea about that back then. It was a different vertical, a different niche. So I opened the first restaurant. It's a big flop. So just make a guess. What would be the next thing to do? What you would say, what you would recommend me, not knowing my entire story.
Definitely try to maybe I won't go and close the business immediately. I may do some research of the market, study my competitors, better understand where I failed so I could try to make a new plan. But if in my studies and in my research, I realized that it was a mistake from the beginning, I shouldn't go into this business because I didn't make some researches, I may stop the business. Yeah.
So what I did was extremely stupid because one restaurant is failing. I said I will compensate this restaurant with a food truck. So the restaurant is already not working. So I buy a food truck in the city center. It's of course also not working. So I have already two things that are not working. So what is the next idea? Your video is gone, by the way.
Yeah, no problem.
So I simply continue. You will come back. So what was the next idea? Additionally to the food truck, I opened a terrace on a rooftop. What was also not working. So now I have in parallel already 3 shitty restaurants that are not working. So I was obsessed with it. I got obsessed with something that is very bad and that I'm not understanding. So what I did was I closed all these 3 restaurants. But yeah, it's not over. I opened 2 new restaurants.
Oh my God.
First, a restaurant under the old brand. I took over an entire house. I reconstructed this house. We are speaking here about hundreds of thousands of euros that
I was going to ask you, what did you do with the investment? That's a huge amount.
Well, it was gone. I had the money. It was not that I was eating the dirt from the streets, but it practically was something like my life savings. I could have bought from this money in Romania, even nowadays, a nice house. Plus, I could put a good Porsche in front of the house. So yeah, that's definitely the case. So, or if I would have invested in the business that I understand, I would have maybe now a company with 100 people, but I didn't do it, and it's too late. And it took me a while to digest it, but now I'm super okay with that. So I rebuilt this house. I make the same stupid restaurant concept there that was not working 3 times before. It's of course again not working. And it was a barbecue focused restaurant. The food was amazing, by the way. That was not the problem. It was one of the highest ranked restaurants in Google. But beside the food quality, everything was bad. The design was bad, the plating was bad, the concept was bad, everything was bad, especially for the Romanian market. So I eat all this meat every day because nobody is buying it. Nobody comes to the restaurant. So I get very sick. So what I decide to do is I decide to become vegan to get healthy again. I
Oh
turn
my
into a
God,
vegan,
what a
and
turnover.
I'm not anymore, but I turned it into a vegan restaurant after I made some tests. So I let's say I make like today burger night is coming 3 reservations. Then I make today vegan night is coming 15 reservations. So I saw I'm here on something, and once again I'm in like a blue ocean, not a red ocean. So I moved into a field where there is barely competition, but that is booming. There were an entire Bucharest, a city with 2 to 3 million people. Nobody knows it exactly. There were, I think, only 2 vegan restaurants at this time, but everybody was a hipster, going with the bicycle and having the socks up to the knee and all these knitted sweaters, hipster style. So veganism was booming there. So I meet the vegan restaurant. The kid was in the meantime also, I think, already born. And the vegan restaurant starts to go in an okay direction. But COVID comes.
Oh my God, that's the big
Plus,
hit.
I have to move to a different city because of the family. So the moment when after all these years I found something and the concept was still bad, it was just with the vegan stuff, I offered something nice, the plating, the design, the marketing, everything was still bad. But I gave the people now something that they could not find somewhere else that easy. I was finally on a good way, and it improved, of course, also the marketing and so on. And I learned, of course, before also some things. When it finally started to be on an okay way, I move away, and COVID is at full power. So I had to close the entire business, and that's the situation. So that was by far the biggest mistake I made. I think it's the biggest mistake I ever made in my life. Not speaking about somebody told me 2011 buy Bitcoin or something like this. I'm not speaking about this kind of stuff, but really where I made like a big decision and it was going that wrong. Was the restaurant business the worst idea I ever had? But also there I had, like, in the start of my career, a safety parachute. I had in the start of my career with the insurance the money from my father. I mean, he was not rich, so he was just, I didn't have to pay rent, let's say. And if I said like the commission was bad, he was giving me 100 euros that I could put gas in the tank. But I knew that if the business fails, I can always be at home. So I had a parachute. When the restaurant failed, it was savings. I was not paying something from my income. So I knew that I can cut it any day and I'm fine. So I had the luxury situation to always have like a parachute. And if you go into something that is like highly risky, like being an entrepreneur in a field that is very competitive at a young age, or going into a completely different field, you should have some safety net, because otherwise you are with the head too stressed how to pay the bills.
Indeed.
And it's maybe tough.
But at the end of the day, it wasn't a mistake because you learn from it. And for me, you know, if it wasn't for the big corona and the hit, you may done something amazing, because you've learned something, is that you have to always listen to the market needs and you have to always find your niche. So how about finding your niche?
That I knew before. I was just too crazy, and I will not do something from the specifics that I learned, because I'm very sure I will never ever open a restaurant again. I stick to what I know, and I developed my passions there. I always wanted to write a book, so I wrote a book. I wanted to teach people. Now I speak on 20 conferences and have 2 podcasts to teach and have 2 podcasts to teach people. So I get my pleasure from something else. But one thing is good about the restaurant. The money ended also in some way. So let's say I would have made the restaurant with 50 or 55, where I would not have the energy or the health to get all the money back and to invest in new ways of making money and so on. I would maybe lose my life savings with 55 and had no opportunity to get it back. Now I still could do that. So maybe it was good that I made the mistake back then, because sooner or later I would have made it most probably anyway, because I was so obsessed with having one.
Don't you rethink what happened with you every time you go to the restaurant?
Not anymore, but the first, I would even say 2 years, now it's closed since 3.5, something like this. The first time, and especially when I had the restaurant, it was hard. Especially when I had the 3 restaurants and none of them was working. I was burning 11,000 euros per month, plus the investment that I had. So when I was going to restaurants and the food was shit, but the concept and the plating was nice, it was burning a hole in my heart. I was like, my food is so good, but nobody comes. So that was hard. But now I just look back at this as like a big mistake.
It was a lesson. It was a big lesson.
An expensive lesson. And it's not giving me any hard feelings. I'm happy for every restaurant owner that tries it and succeeds, because it's a very hard business. I'm happy for anybody that is having the guts to make a business and put real work into it and not make it with cheating people.
And anyway, in business, you don't have only to pay for your business, but you have to pay for your mistakes, or else you won't learn from anything. One last question, 2 last questions actually.
Yeah, sure.
So would you please introduce us to what is to what is joint venture, and how to build a joint venture, and how to hire a team?
So, okay. I mean, when you are growing into something, I highly recommend, if possible, and especially if you have other things to do as well, like I have, to find partners to do things together. I have in nearly everything that I'm doing some partners, because everybody is good in a different thing. And for some stuff, you better have in-house partners to understand things. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not a technical guy. I'm not a guy that is good with being reliable with follow-ups and so on. So for all the businesses, I have somebody in a partnership with, either like with shared properties. I even had that with the restaurant, and the people were better than me. So yeah. But in the online marketing industry, it's the same. They have connections that I don't have. They have skills that I don't have. And so we are playing the ball to each other. And I better have 50% from 10,000 euros than having like 100% from 500 euros. And this is a very good lesson that you have to take. And you better split and make more than keep everything for yourself. Put the ego aside when you make partnership.
Yeah, I learned that as well in my business, because if you want to keep the whole profit for you, at some point you can't manage everything. You can't control everything. So you need good people around you, but you need to know whom to choose. That's the most important point here.
So just an example, I don't want to say now what project it is, but there is like somebody that reached out to me. They have like quite a business, and they have one field that I cover, and they have not touched it since many years. They build a business like I have, and then the project manager left, and it's resting, and they have nobody that would be qualified for it, and so on. So they reached out to make now a partnership. If they don't offer me something, they will make 0 for the next 10 years. Oh. Maybe now they will make like, I cannot predict it, but it will be easy 5-6 figures annually if it's done nice. And nobody of us has to put too much effort into that. So that's definitely the beauty of joint ventures. If you are teaming up with somebody that is good in a certain field and you just split what you have, it's not always working, and you have to do it with the right people. And what I also recommend you is to have like, even if it's your best friend, a written agreement.
Exactly.
And
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
And what I mean with that is often not even a contract, because especially in the online marketing field, people are making companies, God knows where, in the Seychelles, and it's very hard maybe sometimes to reach them on a legal way. But the problems are not coming on a legal level. The problems are coming with the miscommunication. If you have not defined every aspect can happen written, sooner or later people will interpret it in a different way, and that should be avoided. And for example, with my HR company, it's at the moment not a joint venture. Is I have it together with the wife of a friend of mine, Tina. She will also make her first speech now in Milan. That's also important for me when I hire people and team up with people, that they can learn something. She was never speaking publicly, so I encourage her and so on to do that. So she has like an incredible nice commission scheme, and if the company will be ever sold or something like this, I will for sure cut her in there as well. But the commission scheme that I made for her is in HR sometimes very, very complicated. Who brought the client? Who brought the candidate? What are the payment terms? What are the fees? What happens if the candidate is? What happens if the client is not paying, and so on? So I try to put everything in the contract. And after the fourth or fifth person that we hired together, it was already stuff unclear. So even if you are sitting down and you just make it per email, and you are not putting like hours to playing your head through every eventuality, there can happen like problems. And another story, when I was hired for another company many years ago, they gave me like a super good commission scheme or bonus scheme, and they made a mistake in that. And after 3 months, I was not even working there proper. I was just learning this industry. They would have paid me a bonus of a few €100,000 just because they defined it in the contract wrong. So what
Thank you
to
for
do?
highlighting on this, because I have a lot of friends who actually reach out to me and they're like, hey, we are working with another friend, but we had this client and who didn't pay us back, and now my friend isn't paying me. And I'm like, okay, so you should have an agreement at the first place. Now you can't do anything. So yeah, what you're highlighting on is very important. It's a big advice for all the newbie entrepreneurs.
In this case, with the company that gave me the wrong contract, there was written something like I get the commission anyway 2 months later, and just if I'm still in the company. So I know that I will never get this money. So if I tell them like I insist to get a few €100,000 for being practically like an intern for 3 months, it would first be not fair from my side, and second, they would simply find ways to not pay me. They fire me, I have nothing. And they say like, yeah, you were doing this mistake because we fire you. And if you are fired, you are not getting any bonus. So we just shake hands. And I think I got something like an amount of money that was enough to buy a Harley Davidson. So yeah, so it was also nice to have this kind of bonus. And yeah, it was maybe also something like a swallowed ego. People were saying me, oh, you have the contract, you have to put them to court. That's bullshit. If I would have worked in the 3 months like crazy and the money would have been made do my work, it would be a different story. But I did nothing. I was sitting in the office and learning, and they made a mistake in the calculation, or like they mixed up a comma or 2 commas. And that's why it was like this. I have morally no right to that, even if it would be legal. So yeah, have everything written to avoid confusions, and if there is something, just talk it out. They also talked it out with me.
100%. Yeah, thank you for highlighting on this. And how do you currently market this type of business? Because it's something new.
So what I do is I go to all of these conferences where I speak, and that is already like a great way to market yourself. Some of the conferences, they are just happy if somebody comes and speaks, and they would take everybody, let's say. And some of the conferences are extremely elite, and it's very hard to get like a speaking slot.
True.
So when you are invited on these bigger conferences to speak, and it's also that we have like a circle of speakers that are helping each other to get better gigs to speak, then the people see you on stage and they know automatically that you are qualified and you are not invited there for no reason. Of course, you have to deliver. If you go only on stage and you make some blah blah with no values, they will still say like, okay, what is the guy doing? He had sex with the organizer or something like this. So you still have to deliver. But just to give you this forum is already impressing people and giving you some validation. That's the first thing. The other thing is that I have built an online marketing presence exactly about what I do. So I have 2 podcasts. One is for the dating industry. It's practically for my main job, main client, however you want to call it. I'm managing an affiliate program called Masters in Cash in the dating industry. So I make for them since around 2.5 years podcasts where I invite people from the industry. So the good thing is when you make a podcast with other people, they share it. So they grow your online presence. So it's the same here.
Connections.
Look, I'm now here in this podcast, and it's the first time that I speak about this kind of topic with entrepreneurship and personal branding and so on. So once it's live, I will share it. That means that you will get some followers, that you will get some traction from my circle. That is the same there. When I invite somebody to speak on our dating podcast, a lot of them never have born a podcast at all, or they are very often, but everybody has their own little circle and reach. They are sharing them. Then they look at it, they say, hey, this is a cool interview. This is like interesting content. They follow me and they realize me on the next conference, or they investigate more what I do. And there is maybe like a partnership. And this is helping me, especially with the dating industry that I have, that people are invited and they speak about stuff that our company is doing as well. So when they are searching for a new business partner, they are reaching out to me and they say, hey, you made this podcast with this and this guy. He can vouch for me that I'm a legit person. And can we try also something together? And the same is with the affiliate management stuff. And the affiliate management stuff is more educational. And as nobody is really doing this kind of things and nobody wrote a book, especially about this topic, there are coming now other books out and more people are making now podcasts as well. They learn from this content that I produce. And there was until now practically no competition. You want to learn affiliate management? I'm the only one with a book. I'm the only one with a podcast that is covering all verticals and not one thing specific. So that builds already like a very big brand. Then when you help people, no matter if it's paid or not, they start to recommend you more. A permanent posting of certain things will associate that you are an expert. For example, when I helped the recruitment agencies for nothing, or my friends or the companies, I posted in their behalf. And people were seeing that and saw it maybe one time per month that I said, hey, I have this friend is looking for this job. I have this company, they are looking for this type of candidates. Now I post maybe every second week, but with a list of people or a list of companies. So people see every second week that I'm a guy that has something to offer when you look candidates or jobs. Maybe I'm not qualified. Maybe all these people and companies are not even existing. I could have faked it. Theoretically, I could have faked it. If you make now every day a post about I have candidates to work in this and this fields, I have companies hiring in this and this fields, people are reaching out to you. Theoretically, you can tell them, yeah, sorry, I don't have anybody. You can tell them, hey, nobody exists that would fit you. But the people see it. So sooner or later, the real people will come to you. And in my case, it was that the people were existing, but there was no business model. And now that I have this reputation, it turned into a business model without being ever planned. So sometimes it helps a lot to just help people, and it will grow your business over the time without you are even asking for it. And it also happened that I connected, for example, people, and they reached out later on and said like, hey, this was a good connection, here's money, and I never asked for it. I mean, for example, at the baby shower of my daughter were coming 2 friends that are in the real estate business from my hometown. They were not knowing each other. and I connected them that they can fly together. And of course, these guys are sitting for 2.5 or 3 hours in the same plane, both in the same industry. And when they return, they sell a house together. So they asked me for my bank account and they sent me a commission just because of the connection. But I was not even doing something. I just connected them to come to the event of my kid. And they gave me that without me asking for it. So just being present all the time with certain things, being helpful, will build your brand. But of course, you have also to deliver something and not only make empty promises. And now with
Exactly.
AI, this is a very big problem, because
100%.
I see now that other affiliate managers and consultants are popping up with podcasts and so on. And the topics that they are covering is like very general. And you could see it was created with AI. Everybody is saying the same thing. This is not value. And even the comments are per AI. What is this?
Indeed.
Bots are talking with bots.
We always need this tone of voice. We need the true message behind every podcasting, behind every the topic and subject we are discussing, because now in our community, it's very easy to create a paragraph, a content, a picture, a video, anything with AI. So if you are not your true self with everyone's else, then you don't have a new unique selling point. So this is what you actually have. Maybe this is your big advice in personal branding, I believe.
There are a lot of coaches out there for personal branding, because it's not only about affiliate management. That is just my field, but there are so many other guys out there. One guy is an expert for payment things. One girl is like an expert for search engine optimizations, and so on and so on. So you can build with just a phone, you can build like your online persona, but the real value, your real skills are shown when you are out there live.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for sharing this amazing, effective strategy. Stefan, just another tip from you for the newbie entrepreneurs or people out there. What would you like to send them a message?
Don't be afraid to ask for help. A lot of people out there are very vain about what they are doing and their skills. So you would be very surprised if you are asking for help, even when they are like some bigger names, how many informations you are getting from them. And I get like, I would say maybe like 2-3 requests per month from people that I never heard of. And they say like, hey, we watched this video, we saw you on stage. Do you have an advice about this and that? And as long as it's just like a few messages sent, it's not only something that I can say, I do this because I'm such a nice guy. Most probably 50% of the people would reply something to you.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, I believe that, and yeah, for everyone who's struggling out there, trust me, everyone has struggled enough, and we all try to become an entrepreneur, but it's not that easy path. You have to step into a lot of risk, a lot of problems. You have to face a lot of challenges, or else you will stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah, and if you are staying somewhere, that's the worst thing.
Exactly.
That's the worst thing. Even if you are like an employee, you should aim for being the best employee that they can get in this field. If you're a car mechanic, you should be the absolute expert in being at least a certain field. I don't know that you're the best guy that can fix the battery on the Tesla or something like this, not for the entire car.
True, true. Thank you, Siva, for your time. And I really appreciate you in this podcast, especially that you were sick this week. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure to invite me to speak about this topic that is not so common for me. So I'm very glad that you did that, and I enjoyed it as well. And I hope somebody that is watching it can take something good out of it.
Pleasure is mine. Pleasure is my honor to have you. Thank you, Stephen.